Welcome to Crossroads. I'm your host, Joshua Phillip, and today we have Steve Rabb with Liberty Found. This well-dressed gentleman is going to talk to us about liberty.
Love it. I love it. So nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Calls himself it's like Hamilton.
The conservative. Hamilton for conservatives. Right.
What a concept.
That's right. Well, and what it is taking the words of the founders, and the character I play is John Founder. It's a mashup of all the great ideas, the liberty ideas that are the Constitution, but it takes it and puts it into a narrative form. So it's chapter by chapter, so it tells the story of religious liberty. And now what did our founders say about that? It tells the story of labor and the fruits of our labor and how we should enjoy those. And doesn't tell it in a just kind of speech type. It's much more, it's music, it's entertaining, but it's all the words of the founders. So, as I say, you can argue with the founders, but you better know what they said first, right? So go to Liberty Found, and you will find liberty, and you'll find out what our founders actually believed about liberty.
Yeah, and here is the thing. The founders, by today's standards, were pretty cool. And people, I don't know, they get off on this idea that, somehow they were the, oppressors of the past and stuff like this. The basis of America was standing against oppression. The basis of America was standing against the tyranny of the state. The basis of it was liberty and this experiment that we as individuals can have self-governance, and that will, I think we talked before, right? The bigger the government, the smaller the man.
That's it.
And this whole idea that we should try something different than what's been tried through all of history.
Well, amen to that. For the first time, this country put the power in the hands of the people, right? Until then, it was all kings, and it was all tyrannical, and it was all top down. What a lot of folks want us to go back to is that state-controlled, state-owned, top-down. When what the founders wanted, what we believe is that it is in the hands of the people, right? And that these are our rights. So the challenge is that what we want is the government to stay away and let us just be great on their own, right? Let us make it on our own, be who we're going to be, survive in this world without the micromanagement of a parent government. And the founders amazingly got there a lot sooner than anybody else in the world, and there's a lot to be learned. Unfortunately, we have a generation that doesn't read. If I hand somebody a Constitution, I feel good about me, but I don't think they're actually, if they're 21 years old, they're not going to go home and read that, sadly enough. But if I can bring them to a live performance, something that's engaging, entertaining, exciting, that they actually get pulled into, maybe I can make a difference. Maybe I can help them understand that, get past the emotion and think, and do it in a way that's powerful. As I say, you'll remember the theatrical performances, the live performances you've seen in your lifetime. The TV shows, they come and go from the brain. Often, sometimes even the things we read, but the things that we experience in an audience that's part of with a performer is a power there. That's an impression that it leaves in the heart, and that's what we're trying to do, is impress hearts through Liberty Found.
Great. So, liberty.
Liberty. I'm all for it.
Let's talk about liberty. What are the Declaration of Independence was a radical document.
Absolutely.
These guys, by today's standards, that was a strong move.
It was a death warrant. It was their death warrant.
Could you imagine people these days, right? Some a bunch of people getting together and saying, I sign my name here. If you need to come kill me, here's where I live. But I am going to stand up against this, tyrannical regime because we no longer believe it is representing our interests, and we want to try something different. And we believe that people are naturally imbued with the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Amen.
And it's an interesting document. That it's not a binding document, but it set forth a concept that has defined, I think, the new ideas of what liberty and personal freedom are, which has been the contrast, I think, with this new idea of new totalitarianism under socialism that we've seen all throughout the 20th century. What's your take on this?
Yeah, correct. The big battle we have in our society right now is who has the power to decide your next action, right? What you do, where you live, what you can eat, where you can work, how much money you can take home from that work. Do you get to decide that? Or does a state get to decide that? And that's every issue. You can just go to, the battle line is drawn around who gets to decide. And it is scary to think that we're going to go back, and whether it's one king and tyrant who's making that decision, or a committee of bureaucrats, that's really a minor distinction. Because they're both taking the power away from me, right? Away from you to make that choice, to make that decision. And for people to be big, to be great in this world, they've got to have the power. But with that power comes responsibility. And some people don't want the responsibility. In other words, when you swing the bat, you can get a hit, you can also get a strike. But my gosh, that's a lot better than just being sent to first base and never having gotten to the plate, right? So, there is no success without that, unless it's earned success. And that's what the founders were about. And honestly, I say to people, you can disagree with the founders, you can debate the founders, but you got to know what they said first. If you're going to say that the founders are, they're out of touch, that was then, this is now, okay, that's a reasonable debate. But you got to start with tell me what the founders believed about capitalism, economy, whether or not we have the rights to the fruits of our labor. Tell me what they said. And if you tell me that, and then if you want to disagree with it and debate it, we'll do that. But before you just wash away 200 plus years of amazing, successful history of our nation with the I have a better idea, one that's never worked anywhere else, but I'm pretty sure we're going to make it work here. Before you do that, then maybe you start at the beginning. The beginning is the founding ideas, the ideas of liberty, and we stand on the shoulder of those ideas, and a generation needs to hear that, and that's Liberty Found. We do it for churches, for schools, for organizations. If folks go to libertyfound.us, they will be able to understand more about what we do and how we can work together with them. Our whole goal in life is to simply spread the great word of liberty.
Great. So tell us a bit about what the founders believed when it came to some of these values, capitalism and these kinds of things.
Well, there's no doubt, if you go to Thomas Jefferson and read about his strong feelings about the fruit of your labor, right? Your hard work. And frankly, that we are making children, government becoming parents, making children of our citizens by distributing to them, that we're not letting them earn their own way. These ideas, Jefferson was completely against, Madison was completely against, Adams was against. And this is all in our presentation, and as you hear one after another, their thoughts, their words on freedom, on economy, on capitalism, you understand that, okay, wow, these folks really believed that I should reap the rewards of my hard work in this world. And that's, so okay, someone can disagree with that, but they need to understand that that's what the founders believed. And there's no question that they were capitalists, and that this nation was built on capitalism, and the same goes for faith. So we have an entire chapter about faith, the religious freedom that we all enjoy, and what the founders believed on it. You can debate about what the founders believed personally in their faith, and whether or not Thomas Jefferson was a deist or whatnot, and that's a reasonable debate. But what you can't debate is whether or not our founders believed deeply in religious liberty, and that every person had the right to live their conscience, express their faith, the private judgment that we all have as a part of the freedoms of the Constitution, the ability to say yes and no to people around us based on our own personal conscience is right in the middle of the Constitution. It's built into it, and not just in there, but the Federalist Papers and the writings of our founders are clear. So this is our project. Our project is to help people understand, here's what they believed, where they were coming from. Let's have that debate. Let's say, now I understand what they believed, and I'm prepared to either accept it and be exhilarated by it and own that freedom, that liberty, or if you want to have a debate about it, well, we'll have that debate too, right? Well, let's have that conversation.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. The idea of life, the right to life, right? That we are imbued with a natural right to life. What a profound thing.
That's right.
That the idea that we are, the idea of liberty, right? Life, liberty, and pursuit of
Personal
happiness.
sovereignty, your personal sovereignty, your ability.
That I can live as I choose as long as I don't hurt someone else.
That's exactly right.
And the idea even of, pursuit of happiness, that's the basis of capitalism in its true concept, that you should be able to build your own thing and pursue your own happiness in the world. Right? Now keep in mind that the rise of corporatism and the interventionist policies that introduced socialist concepts into the, say, corporate system, which ironically a lot of people who oppose capitalism, it's those socialist policies they oppose a lot of times, those interventionist policies they oppose. But the narrative on this is all messed up. The idea was, at least in my interpretation, that the country was built on the idea of small business. The idea of entrepreneurship, the idea that you should be able to pursue happiness as you see it, right?
Absolutely.
Not that you should be given it without without any work. Not that you should, or even for that matter, that you should have to live under the boot of some big corporate tyranny at the same time, right? Which I think also has detracted from this as well. But you could blame also these interventionist policies that gave legal immunity to these corporate systems.
That's right.
Right, which I would say go against the original principles as well.
That's right. We are the largest people in the world. And I say largest because all the things, entrepreneurism, freedom, making choices, living a large life. And the opportunity to see, wow, that person is really doing amazing. If I work hard, if I have a big idea, if I risk take and go for it, I too can achieve those heights. That is, sadly enough, a uniquely American point of view. In other words, other countries, and Europe in particular, they don't have that entrepreneurial spirit. They don't have that energy that we have here, that go for it mentality. They are the sheep looking for the shepherd of government and most countries are that. So when we say, well, the Europeans don't think we're crazy and we don't like it, why do we care what the Europeans think about us? They've never gotten that unique American spirit that makes us incredible. So for us to expect that they understand now, no, they don't understand who we are as a people, what makes us great, that spirit. I think a big part of what Liberty Found is meant to be is not only the ideas of the founders, but the spirit that is America, that go for it, risk-taking, determination. You can be what you want to be in this world, here so more than any other nation in the history of mankind.
Yeah, great. Where can people find you again?
LibertyFound.us is our site. You can request a schedule with us, and we will come to your church. Love to do churches, organizations, schools. We love colleges. We love to talk to students. So come talk to us, and we'll work it out and spread the word of liberty.
Great.
Thank you, Joshua. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to have me on the show.
Thank you.
Everyone, please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.